Watchalong, 20 years of age, signed on a 3-year deal from Sydney FC, although he did spend last year on loan in Denmark with Adelaide. There's Leo Senna, as mentioned, a bit of a doubt after being forced off with that ankle injury against Melbourne City. He was a bit touch and go for tonight. Let's see if he lasts the full 90 minutes. So Sydney FC in their change strip, the white shirts kick us off 90 minutes. That could prove pivotal to two big clubs' hopes of making the finals. And given their form, Andy, Harper, difficult really to pick a winner.
Sure is. Good evening, Simon. And another huge day of A-League men's football. Just reaching fever pitch in the run-in to the playoffs. Adelaide need to arrest what has been a rather precipitous fall in recent weeks, dropping points left, right and centre, and Cooper Stadium has been far from the quote-unquote fortress that they've liked to talk about. Indeed, many teams like to talk about, but the home form across the league has been really interesting. Variable this time round. Sydney, well, what a massive 12 days, and sandwiched in between the Champions League is this must-win match tonight, and then Auckland next up.
Now a turnover by Kamijo sets the Reds flowing forward in Ben Falami. That is well tackled by Ryan Grant. And the frenetic pace of the opening moments rather sets the tone, you fancy, for what will be a tense 90 minutes ahead. Ryan Grant is going to have to go some to keep that ball away from Zach Clough. Joel King handing over the responsibility. Here's Alex Grant, paired back with his namesake Ryan in the heart of the Sydney FC defence today. And we mentioned Adelaide's poor recent run of form, Andy. We saw their last 5 games on screen. In fact, it's no win in 6 now, 2 draws and 4 losses. Sydney's away form hasn't been that flash. 3 victories on the road, only 1 though interstate, and that was in Brisbane all the way back in November last year.
Well, the fortunes for both have to change. It's what put such a point on this game this evening. The Adelaide, you think of those weeks ago away to Auckland in that incredible draw, were playing to take on Auckland for a share of top spot, and since then points for the Reds have been like raindrops for South Australia, I'm sorry to say, in general. And Sydney, well, you've referred to a vocal group of fans who are expecting more. I'm pretty convinced that the players and the coach expect to be in a different position as well. But they're still got second place and the Champions League elite in their sights for next year. Well, they can kiss that goodbye if they don't win here tonight, I don't think.
Javi Lopez getting in ahead of Joe Lolly. That's going to be an interesting battle tonight. 2 very experienced players. Javi Lopez pressed into service because of that injury to Ryan Kitto. But he played 197 minutes so far this season. Here is Lolly taking on Lopez. And that could be a key battle. Here's Kamijo trying to put his boot through it. And sorted out by the Reds, who will now streak forward through Dylan Perez, and Archie Goodwin is onside and away, bearing down on Harrison Devonish-Mears. And Ryan Grant's got back in the nick of time. And now ask the linesman near side whether there should have been an offside flag.
Well, maybe the centre ref and the assistant have decided, don't worry with the offside on that occasion. Sydney have got the ball, no harm done, play on. But it did look, Archie Goodwin, as though he might have strayed.
Here's Douglas Costa. Caceres to hang the ball up towards Courtney Perkins at the back post, and we know he's handy in the air. Scored a very good goal from a Costa corner against Melbourne City in that 3-2 loss at the SFS last week. Alagic protecting it really well away from Douglas Costa and gaining favour with the referee as well.
Well, good work from Stefan Walk to knocked Douglas Costa off balance. Here's the ball. Maybe he was onside, just on his own side of halfway. And if indeed it was a legitimate play on, that's a great chance for Adelaide. Archie just losing control of the ball in the final approach. It's been a great time of it. He's had a great time of it since the move from Newcastle to Adelaide.
Yeah, double figures for the first time in his A-League career. Still chasing the Golden Boot, of course. At the moment, led by Western United's Noah Botic. Sydney FC have got a few players taking an interest in that as well. Here's Stephen Moore. Shocked off the ball, but unfairly so, by Joel King. Joel King, who came off with a calf injury against Melbourne City last week. Tass fit to play this evening. Bart Freens for the Reds. Alex Grant for Sydney. And then Johnny Yull for the Reds. And it'll break here kindly for Dylan Parias, but he's offside. Wouldn't have counted.
It's a key part of the field, in this game. And Dylan Parias has burnt plenty of opponents this season, been in great form, and there's no one really in the league who fancies a foot race with Dylan. Jordan Courtney Perkins can handle himself, but he's not in the same register. But more importantly, the left centre-back for Sydney, Alex Grant, who I think's been a great inclusion, but speed across the ground is not his strong suit at this point of his career, particularly up against the likes of a Parias down the Adelaide right.
That's a good ball by Alagic to free up Zach Clough, and Falami across the face of goal and turned behind by Alex Grant for a corner.
Well, that's good experience from Alex Grant, but Adelaide have cut through 3 times now. They've turned Sydney around and haven't come up with a telling chance on goal, but that's because of poor execution in the final circumstances rather than a lack of attacking thrust. It's been a good start from Adelaide.
Here's Johnny Yull's corner. A lot of flights on that from Yull. All Moore could do was nod it into the arms of Devonish Mears, who's attempted clearance. Cannon back towards the Sydney FC goal. Bit of miscommunication between Max Vartuli on debut and his outfield teammates. What do you make of all the speculation swirling around the head of Carl Veart, Andy?
Well, I get a little defensive of coaches sometimes, but he's had 5 years in the job and 4 years and 2/3 of this one, 75%, 80% of this one. Very competitive still. I'm not quite sure now, unless there's something behind the scenes that stylistically they don't appreciate about Carl, or they want a different direction. Well, that's of course the club's prerogative, but change can be very reactionary, it seems, at times. Now, that mightn't be the case in this instance, but I think he's done very well over a number of years.
Johnny Yull opening himself up to playing Falami. Beyond him was Clough, but just a little too strong off the boot of Falami. Camijo's been robbed of the ball on the blind side, and the Reds hunting in packs for the ball. Dylan Parias trying to skip clear of Courtney Perkins, not quite able to do that. And Senna to sort things out for Sydney, or at least that was the intention. Up towards Klimala, who's beaten to it by Kikianis. The Reds have got the bit between their teeth early on here. Zach Clough again sprinting down the left and firing in a really awkward one, which Devonish Mears had to push away on the bounce and behind for a corner.
Well, awkward's the word, Simon. And it's another great break from Adelaide. Sydney not able to hold possession, then out-muscled on halfway, and great experience from Harvey Lopez to then thread the ball through to Zach Clough. And this was, as you called it, awkward for Devonish Mears. Somehow manages to get the ball out of the danger zone.
Here's the corner, good tail to it, but good take by Devonish Mears.
The who at the first couple of times of asking was quick to his feet and looking to launch a counter-attack. A little bit of a breather now from Sydney.
There's Carl Wirtz. Numbers across the years that he's been in charge of the Reds, 137 matches. They did miss the finals, of course, last season, and Adelaide United as a club, Harps, have never missed back-to-back finals in the A-League era.
Yeah. 3 semi-finals in a team that doesn't have the biggest budget. They've got a great youth system, clearly. We've seen that plenty of times. But at any rate, what will be will be. He's certainly, in my opinion, given a great estimation of himself.
Here's Ethan Allegage. Flipping the ball over the top as Goodwin stayed onside. Devin Schmears got caught betwixt and between, but managed to recover his ground. And I think the flag might have popped up, but
well, again,
play will go on because
I think it's the same scenario.
It's ended up with Sydney FC.
I think it's the same scenario. The poor assistant on the near touchline is gagging to get his flag up.
Tell you what, I reckon he was.
If it goes in, they'll be getting the lines
to being
out.
onside, but anyway.
Twice denied his glory on the near touchline.
Well, that's how Archie Goodwin plays, off the shoulder of the last defender. Here's Joe Lolly, cutting in field, can have a go here.
2 touches for Joe Lolly tonight, and already more like it. First one, he cut on his right nicely. Might have been 3 positive plays, and certainly that one looking a lot fresher.
Kikianis and Bartuli just dispensing with the streamers. The Reds in festive mood behind that goal. Only the last thing you want is those streamers interfering with the trajectory of the ball. Remember a few years ago there was a balloon on the pitch in England. I think it was a Sunderland game, and the ball hit the balloon and deflected and went in the goal. Good tackle, Courtney Perkins. Forward by Camijo, but Friends nipping in ahead of Klubala. Yeah, the Reds just feel that little bit sharper at the moment.
Great start from them. Mind you, one of the repetitive themes of their home season has been patches of really dominant form, not being able to make the most of it, and then games get away from them. There's been plenty of starts to games at Coopers like this one, but Sydney well off the pace at this point.
Johnny Yull looking to get to the byline. Courtney Perkins not of a mind to let him. He was scrapping away to try and regain possession of the ball, but unfairly so in the opinion of Ben Abraham.
It's a great challenge from Courtney Perkins to start with. Just got entangled and from the wrong angle. But he's enjoying a good time of it recently. Have to be very patient here at Adelaide to get any sort of regular game time. Very, very talented young guy.
Courtney Perkins, who broke Adelaide hearts in injury time here in December, heading home an equaliser to make it 3-3. Sydney were 3-1 down in the 89th minute of that game. Somehow came away with a point. I guess from Ufuk Taleh's perspective, given the fact that he might be carrying 1 or 2 little injuries as well, Harbs, he's got to really balance his squad over this next 10-day period with the Champions League 2 semis coming up. Setter having his jersey held. He'll be one of those that they'll be watching closely, the medical team today, after that ankle injury last week.
Certainly. Now, by my estimation, Simon, I hang on every word you say, you know that. I think that's the first
Don't
time.
tell fibs, Andy.
I think that's the first time Leo Senna has received the ball. Adelaide have done a great job on stopping the ball getting into Senna. They're happy for Kamiju to have the ball, less keen for Senna to have the ball. They're blocking that pass, and on that occasion, as soon as he got his touch, and if it wasn't his first, at most it was his second or third, and they were straight onto him. Even if it meant conceding the foul, they've done a great job blocking off that Brazilian so far this evening.
Let's see if they can block off this Brazilian. Costa's delivery. Straight at Kikianis. Sent forward by Yol, but Joel King the favourite to get there first. It's good hassling though from Archie Goodwin. Gets Adelaide the throw. The Reds without to win since they defeated Melbourne City on the 7th of February. So 2 months without a maximum points haul. That leaky defence has been the main reason they've conceded 19 goals in their last 6 matches. Alex Grant impeding Johnny Yol, who got the wrong side of him.
They're just a half yard too slow at the moment, Sydney. The touches are heavy. They can't let the ball stuck in Alex's feet. He has to foul. Johnny Yol buzzing around him. That's all the Reds players are doing to their immediate opponents right across the field.
Patrick Klimala looking to apply pressure. Centre as well. Costa's on the edge of the penalty box too. Vartuli going long. Johnny Yol again getting the better of Alex Grant. There's a real hunger about the Reds in these early stages. Falami. Good anticipation by Costa. Senna. Lovely pass by Douglas Costa to pick out Lolly. Alex Grant. Alex Grant looking for movement, and it's really a whole heap of it. So patience the key for Sydney FC. Johnny Yol tucking in to provide support for Dylan Parias down that right-hand side. Angled back centrally by Senna. Shifted wide by King, and Lolly goes first time. And Klimala after this one, and it might yet favour the Sydney striker, Patrick Klimala. It's a catastrophe defensively once again for Adelaide United. Max Vartuli on debut. Wasn't 100% sure, and it broke kindly for Patrick Klimala, who put Sydney FC 1-0 up.
Well, the ball over the top is something that Patrick Klimala really likes to chase down, but he's given this one up. On the Harvey Norman replay, the ball sat in that really awkward zone, certainly for the goalkeeper. Klimala had given it up. Vartuli commits himself but can't make the meaningful contact. And the pole swoops. Sydney score completely against the run of play. Adelaide again not converting, early dominance and paying the price for indecision in their defence, and Klimala swoops.
Well, full credit to Patrick Klimala, who didn't give up the ghost. It's his 9th of the season. Now that's got to go down as a big goalkeeping error. Let's go down to Bruce Jitte, who's with Max Burford sideline for us. Not the sort of start that the young keeper wanted, guys.
Oh, not at all. Welcome to town, Simon and Harps. Welcome to the A-League. Max Vartuli, that is something that he will never, ever want to see again. But these Sydney FC fans who are over in the corner, they've travelled very, very well. They're going to want to watch that time and time again. A goal against the run of play. I mean, after the week that these Reds have had, Bruce, with Carl Weerts, his future under these very, very heavy storm clouds. Let this play out for you, Simon.
Max. It's Anthony Caceres on the right. Back with the boys in a moment. Here's Costa. Looking for and finding Courtney Perkins. An awkward bounce for the fullback. Leo Sena. Let's go back down to you guys again. We can always butt in if necessary.
Oh, yeah, if they're taking their time around here. Bruce, after the week that they've had, to go down 1-0 after such a, you'd say, dominant start for the Reds, when it rains, it pours.
Well, it's symptomatic of the season that they're having. I mean, 2 great chances for Archie Goodwin. Were they offside or not, we'll never know. You've got to take those chances. And time again, we've seen this Reds team, great intensity, lots of great chances, not capitalise on them and get punished.
You see on the live ladder right there what it means. Sydney, ahead of the Reds at present.
Yep, they would be in the 6 if it finished this way. The end of 90 minutes, but still a long way to go. As a coach, Andy, I guess you just can't legislate for mistakes like that. Let's see how this one plays out. Dylan Pereira's onside for the moment. One-on-one. Devonish Mears with a big save for Sydney FC down low to his left. And the Reds are denied again. That was a huge opportunity for Adelaide United. They'll go again with Zach Clough. Nice little shimmy of the hips, but that's straight down the throat of the goalkeeper once again. Well, big save this.
An incredible save, and this is the corridor that was always going to be an advantage, but Alex Grant's that didn't even get into a foot race. He completely gave up the space with an overread and the press to half line, and this is as close to a gimme as you're going to get in football. There's so much time to set himself, so much of the goal to hit.
Maybe, if anything, had a bit too much time to think about it, Dylan Pereira's. Now attention switches to the other end. Joe Lolly earning a corner. Dylan Pereira's still thinking about that miss. He's scored 3 goals this season, and all 3 have been against the 2 Sydney clubs. And Carl Weerts, well, he must think he's walked under a ladder or something.
Well, the same, you asked about the coaching aspect to it, Simon. There are just some things that happen on a football field, and week after week. You look at the general way Adelaide have played, certainly at home, and most of the indicators are things are going well. There's intensity, good touch, they're creating chances. Week after week at home.
It's Douglas Costa's corner, and Clemara at the near post. It's really awkward for the Adelaide defence. Now they'll look to launch a counter through Johnny Yull. That's really good tracking back by Anthony Caceres.
Not just the tracking. How did he get that ball so cleanly? That's crazy stuff from Caceres, who a lofty estimation of him, really has been very quiet the last few weeks. And that was quite something.
It was the sort of tackle I seem to remember that a couple of weeks back German Ferreira made for Melbourne City.
In the South American DNA, you reckon?
There you go. There is just a little suggestion of a handball there.
Kikianis' hands are in tight.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. How he didn't concede the foul. There was a slight touch from behind,
there
but not
was.
material. He managed to regain his balance gymnastically and play the ball away. Really wonderful stuff from Anthony Caceres there. Adelaide
with a great number of final third entries, but the other numbers are a little bit closer. Can't keep making big errors defensively. Really, since Joe Gauci left the Reds, goalkeeping jersey has, I guess, been up for grabs. Here's Costa. Kikiana should be able to shepherd this one behind, and gets a little nudge in the back for his trouble.
And that's the unfortunate and unkind thing about football. So I mean, the three on-field players who've not maximised their chances on goal, most recently Dylan Parias, not coming in for nearly the same scrutiny as the young debutant in goal for Adelaide. Goalkeeper mistakes are so often so final.
That's a great read by Ryan Grant. Costa. Quite on the same wavelength as his two teammates, Senna and Courtney Perkins. Touch by Parias. He's looking for the return, but shut down by Alex Grant. Senna. Sydney FC in a familiar position at this venue. Haven't lost any of their last 5 visits to Coopers Stadium. 3 wins and 2 draws. And they are in the ascendancy once again. And their marquee man on the ball, Douglas Costa. What a lovely ball by Costa. Caceres to drive it, looking for that bottom corner.
A beautiful ball from Costa. Caceres just not getting the ball out in front of him enough. The angles that Costa finds with passes, I mean, it does speak to his unparalleled awareness, his ability to take in information and process it that quickly. But if he did a series of freeze frames on the different moves he puts on and the angles his body gets into and the passing, just what a beautiful collection of still photographs that would be. Might get Elise Keller-Knight onto that one.
I don't think Patrick Kamala's goal will be hung in the Louvre anytime soon, but it's a goal that divides the teams at the moment. Kikianis working the ball wide. Javi Lopez looking for the run of Falami. Little scoop back towards Kikianis, who will assess the options. Mork. Way back for Bart Vriends. Alagic, got to be quick with Camijo arriving. Lopez. Well, that's a lovely ball by Lopez, just a fraction too strong. And there is a little bit of contact between Ryan Grant and Ben Falami, and one or two Adelaide players. We're asking the question of Ben Abraham.
Yeah, the ref had a good look at it and gesticulated pretty instantaneously. I'd reckon his assessment was, yeah, might have been some contact, but the ball had gone beyond Falami's ability to make a play at the ball. Sydney looking really vulnerable. Adelaide stretching the game with great efficiency. And the pass to penetrate, basically he's been on point since kickoff. Just no finishing touch, and the chances have become available for Adelaide.
Word from the VAR booth is that Adam Kersey and his team have checked all these pictures and decided there is no case to answer for Ryan Grant.
He's not going to get there. It's a beautiful pass from Javi Lopez. Like a seriously beautiful pass.
Kikianis stepping forward from defence. Lopez, Falami. Nips in ahead of Ryan Grant. Lopez finding the gap beautifully. And the cutback intended for Moore didn't quite reach its target. Might have been a foul up by Klimala, but play allowed to continue. Certainly can't fault Adelaide United's work rate. And there might be a way of getting here. Dylan Parias has got clear of Courtney Perkins. Lovely ball. And Devonish Mears with another massive stop for Sydney. This time to deny Archie Goodwin. Goodness me. Adelaide must be wondering what on earth they have to do to score.
No, again, this sums up Adelaide beautifully to tonight. A great stretching of the field. Beautiful release ball. Parias' touch and delivery was excellent. And as the ball comes across, Archie Goodwin, his eyes must have taken on the size of satellite dishes. Here I am to help myself. And Devonish Mears saves really quite excellently for Sydney.
And Harps, just take us into the footballer's mind for a minute. When you're on a run like this, no win in 6, you're playing well, you're creating chances, and then you cough up a soft one at the other end. Does it damage your confidence?
It has the capacity to do that, and I think having gone one down, Adelaide did look a little flattened, but they've kicked straight back. I mean, they're back into the dominant position. What's helping Adelaide, Simon, is the Sydney defence, which is pushing up really high. No problem with that. I just think they're misreading these moments here. When Adelaide have had a chance to play out of the press, the person in possession can look up and see. Sydney are still up and flat, expecting somehow that's going to stop Adelaide's attack. It's not. They're so exposed over the top, and Adelaide have been having their way with the Sydney formation on that basis. Just again to repeat, without the goal to put the icing on the cake so far, and they've had their chances. Devonish Mears great now twice to deny Adelaide.
Yeah, 2 excellent saves from the Sydney FC goalkeeper, who's had his ups and downs this season. Kikianis. The back heel by Falabi didn't quite pay off for the Reds. Sydney throw. Klimala. Lolly. Steady down by Costa. Caceres couldn't reel it in first time, but he's too strong for Alagic. Costa. Oh, beautiful reversal of the ball by Costa. Lolly fires it across, and a good strong right hand from Max Bartoli. That'll do his confidence the world of good. And now attention switches to Archie Goodwin at the other end. He's got 3 Sydney defenders around him. And was the contact there? Yes, this is going to be a yellow card for Joel King. Right on the edge of the Sydney FC penalty area. Another big chance brewing for the Reds.
Huge chance. Now, beautiful work up the Sydney attacking end of the field. Again, Costa with the angle on that pass. But somehow, with a clearing ball, Sydney 3 defenders versus 1 Adelaide player, and they're getting a pickle. They are so vulnerable at the back tonight, still Sydney. There's the stretch from King. That's the foul and the yellow card correctly awarded.
First caution of the evening. Joel King's first caution of the season. This is a very nice angle for Adelaide United, a very problematic one for Harris and Devonish Mears. They've got the draft excluder in. Zach Clough takes a big gulp of air and fires straight into the wall as Follard going in. Here's Parias. Never really looked likely.
Scored a decent goal against the Wanderers away in a similar sort of part of the field at Combank Stadium as the ball bounces out to him here, edge of the box. Set up nicely in Parramatta that night. It was not an unkind bounce for him there, but just couldn't quite navigate the technical requirement.
Ball was rather unkind to Alex Grant there. He took the full weight of that Zach Clough free kick. There we go, 6 shots for the Reds, 3 for Sydney. 3 of those on target as well, but Harrison Devonish-Spears, one of the major reasons why Sydney have that 1-goal advantage. There you go, the XG confirms it as well.
And the other end of the field, whilst you're on the topic of goalkeepers.
See how this plans out. It's Klabala. It's a good challenge in the end. My Farias at the expense of a corner.
That last attack from Sydney before this one. Costa angle pass to Lolly. Bartoli did excellently on the attempted cutback. Bounced back really well, the young goalkeeper on debut. Got caught in no man's land for the goal that Sydney scored, but has composed himself and made a good interception there. Sydney could have gone 2 up.
He's got to concentrate again here. Douglas Costa. This is maybe a training ground move for Joe Lolly. Couldn't really get hold of it. Courtney Perkins thought about the overhead kick for a moment, I think. Tracks this one down. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from Douglas Costa. He very nearly caught out Bartoli, although I fancy there was a deflection which spun the ball towards that near post. It's a good save in the end.
Unbelievable. But he's done brilliantly, the youngster, really. But go back to the start of that move from Costa. The deflection nearly played the keeper out. He does so well, but the start of that move where he just pants 2 defenders.
Well, that will be a huge boost to the goalkeeper's confidence.
Look at this, so great camera work too, wonderful pitches. People to appreciate just what goes in to making space in a football field with just sublime technique and dribbling ability. Beautiful stuff. He's been on fire tonight, Costa. I don't think he's got a lot of teammates in the same sort of form, despite the lead. It's still Adelaide who are creating most of the football here.
Terrific readjustment from Max Bartoli because he was going the wrong way from that Costa effort. And these are worrying moments for Carl Beard. It's the knot of Sydney FC fans away in the corner to our right who are in full voice at the moment. Leading as their team does by a 1-0. Sent forward by Ryan Grant. Here's Morg. Johnny Young. Mijo nipping in ahead of Morg. Adelaide will go against a good ball from Clough. Here's Johnny Young. Archie Goodwin at the near post. And again, the offside flag goes in favour of Sydney FC.
It's good defending again. It's a lovely ball this from Clough. That might have required a few replays as well. But Joel King in a good position. A nice run from Archie Goodwin. Good ball in from Johnny Yeo. Trouble here for Sydney on the near touchline.
Yeah, Alex Grant doesn't really seem to be right since that free kick. Problem with the right calf or something in that area? Not quite sure.
Well, they're surely not going to risk it. If there's a tweak in that calf, they got massive 12 days, 10, 12 days. The Jesus is warming up. I reckon that'll be Grant's night. Interesting will be the rejig
Well, you'd imagine that Joel King would go into the middle.
Well, I'd be advocating for Courtney Perkins, actually. Not that it's up to either of us, Simon.
No, that's true.
We just pontificate.
It's what we do. Here's that change. Zach De Jesus replacing Alex Grant. Tale not prepared to take a risk with that Asian Champions League 2 semi-final first leg to come against the Lion City Sailors during the week.
And it is Joel King who's gone into left stopper. Geez, that's a big call for me. Courtney Perkins, to me, way more tailor-made as a centre half than Joel King.
So Joel Griffiths.
Certainly than Joel Griffiths.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been watching Archie Goodwin tonight.
Here's Lolly. Angles it out really well, but he had no right to, really, for Klimala, who thrashes it towards goal, but Kikianis makes the block. Joel King has played that left-sided central defensive role quite a few times for Sydney FC. Have a look at that pass from Lolly. To be fair, he's played in pretty much every position in the back line for Sydney.
Yeah, he's certainly played right. A bit all over the place. I mean, they've got a right back and a left back playing centre backs at the moment. In Ryan Grant, of course.
Archie Goodwin able to turn and open things up for the Reds. Yol puts it out in front of Parias, who goes first time for the cross. There's a little bit too much on it for Zach Clough, and another chance goes begging for the Reds.
Sydney's midfield just cannot stem the supply at all. Adelaide is skipping. I mean, how many times have we seen this? Tale's got to make a couple of adjustments here. Maybe Leo Senna is playing wounded. Maybe they feel they need to get game time into him for what's coming up, but he's barely had an impact. Adelaide are just carving Sydney's midfield to pieces. And the back four are having to turn and chase. And they look very stretched as they're doing it.
Perfect evening in the city of Churches. Beautiful weather, great pitch, the lights on. Good crowd in attendance as well. Lovely interchange between Costa and Lolly. That's where it breaks down for Sydney. Clough. Impeded by Camijo. Treats. Straight at Joel King. Centre for Caceres. Perkins forced back by Ethan Allegage. A couple of minutes of the first half to run. Today, all square between Auckland and Western Sydney Wanderers. Melbourne City defeating Central Coast Mariners by 1-0. And Western United maintaining the rage, beating Perth Glory by 3-1. So the Premiership race only not quite done and dusted just yet.
That was a fabulous game in Auckland this afternoon.
Costa. Jesus. Back through centre. Costa. Good read by Kikianis, but Camijo scrapping away for the ball for Sydney. Caceres. Low one for Courtney Perkins, who did reach it. Therefore, vital that Green's got in front of Klimala. Those early results today, by the way, means that if Sydney were to lose today, they would be 6 points behind the top six with only 4 games remaining. So it really is crucial for Wont team to get all 3 points. Adelaide, of course, 3 points better off at the start of play today.
And of course, a win for Sydney, just to repeat. However faint that goal may still be, but they will believe that second place is a target they can maintain, because the race for that Champions League elite spot is white hot.
If anybody's confused by that, given that Auckland are top, of course the rule is that a team from Oceania, which Auckland FC are, cannot compete in Asian competition. So the team that finishes second will go into the Champions League elite. Here's Costa. Lolly just clipped him on the heel, which held him up momentarily, but he's going to get a corner. Or is he? No. Goal kick is the verdict. Joe Lolly is rather baffled by that. Looked like a corner.
Yeah. And Joe's saying, sir, unless the rules changed, if they kick it out, it's our ball. These things happen.
Kamala giving chase. Greens was strong, did really well. And the goal scorer stayed down just for the moment. After that little tangle.
Yeah, Leo Senna's not well either side. Kamala's down. He'll need a bit of the magic sponge, but Leo Senna is clearly playing wounded.
Yeah, there's a couple of problems at the moment for Wont. Leo Senna feeling that ankle, and Patrick Klimala looks to have a problem as well.
Great work this from Bart Brains.
Just a slight tangle of legs there. Klimala going down awkwardly and in some discomfort. Leo Senna, meantime, as you're watching these pictures of Sydney FC's number 9, doesn't look to be moving 100% freely.
He came over to the bench, Simon, had a chat to the docs, had a drink of water, and looks like he's going to press on. Obviously just before half-time, even if they were going to sub him off. Sensible to do it at half-time.
Yeah, you'd certainly imagine so.
Well, they've already used one sub-window with Alex Grant. Changes during a half-time period don't count in that sense. Otherwise, teams only have 3 occasions during play when they can make their 5 substitutions.
Well, we are at half-time now, and it is Sydney FC who are halfway to their desired target of 3 points. Patrick Klimala, the goal scorer. A goalkeeping error by Max Bartuli on debut, knocked in with a ball that came towards his penalty area. But at the other end, it's the other goalkeeper, Harrison Devonish-Mears, that has been one of Sydney FC's heroes, making 2 massive saves to deny first Dylan Parias and then Archie Goodwin. And all of that leaves us with that half-time scoreline of Adelaide United 0, Sydney FC 1. We're off to a break. We'll have all the first half analysis on the other side of it. Stay with us.
box, and he sort of hesitated, didn't know how to deal with it. It hits Klimala, and he's there for an easy tap in. He did make amends a little bit later with an incredible save from a deflected Douglas Costa chance. But that's what it's come down to. Goalkeepers in this half. Devonish Mears in the other end has been incredible.
Hopefully Patrick Klimala is fit as well. He looked to go down perhaps with an injury concern in the first half. Let's get out to Cooper Stadium now because Maxi Bon and Bruce Jitte are standing by for us. Look, gents, it does feel so tough, doesn't it? Because all the pressure's been on Carl Veart, and you look at what his players are doing. They're so close to being in the lead or having a couple of goals to their name. Just a little wasteful in front of goal in that first half. A bit frustrating.
You would suggest, if a neutral viewer would suggest that probably Adelaide has had the better of the chances by a long margin. But Bruce, you're a striker. You loved finishing goals. Adelaide United struggling big time to put it between the two big sticks.
We talk about big games, you talk about big moments, and there have been a couple of big moments in this game that Adelaide have failed to capitalise on. Whether it's been Goodwin, whether it's been Piraeus, there really hasn't been that capitalisation on the chances. And it's amazing the line, the high line Sydney FC is playing, considering the midfielders aren't getting pressure on the ball. Midfielders aren't getting pressure on the ball, but they keep playing the high line, and Adelaide United have been good enough to slice through them like a warm knife through butter. What's missing is the finishing touches in those crucial moments.
You can see it. All of these clips. It is a stagnant back four. The midfielders not stopping. They're not putting the pressure on the Adelaide United midfielders. It's Dylan Piraeus. It's Archie Goodwin. It's Zach Clough. It's even the players that aren't the quickest players on the field. They're through, but they're just not able to finish it.
And some credit to Devonish Mears. He's stayed big. He's made the angles more difficult. But in games like these, you've got to finish those chances if you want to have any chance of making the finals.
I would suggest Adelaide fans, a goal has to be coming the way that they're playing. But Sydney, you're in front at the moment, Taz. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the second half, really?
All I know is that Alex Ross is going to be really stressed out. Team, get Bruce Jitte out on the field right now. Thanks so much, gents. That was the Hungry Jacks halftime show. He's ready. He was born ready, Bruce Jitte. And don't forget, the Matildas, they are back in action on Monday night. It is Korea Republic Mark II. You can catch it live and exclusive on Paramount+. We'll be back in a minute.
It's a sea of green and gold. The Matildas are back in town. It is a new look, Matildas. Fowler's early ball. Heyman's there for number 3. A hat-trick. What a strike from Caitlin Ford.
Ford, that is outrageous.
Now Gorry. What a finish. Thumped home by Mary Fowler.
Well, it's just another Magic Mary moment.
controls it beautifully, and Archie Goodwin scores this time. Through the legs of the goalkeeper. What a start to the second half. Less than 30 seconds on the watch since the restarts. And Adelaide strike back through their leading scorer, Archie Goodwin.
Well, checking for offside first. He's in an offside position there, but he doesn't get the ball yet. Is the wide player offside? It's a tight one. Really tight one. Johnny Young might have just broken the line. And then Devonish Mears can get his body to the ball but can't stop its progress to the goal. Great touch from Johnny Yull to set up Archie Goodwin. But was Johnny Yull onside when that ball was hit to him? An amazing start to the second half. Sydney's still asleep.
Well, Carl Vince might have been forgiven for thinking that this was just not his night. They had some clear-cut opportunities in the first half, but finally they've made one tell. Their checks complete, the goal stands, and Archie Goodwin is now joint leader in the Golden Boot race. And even then, I guess they need a little bit of fortune. Got a touch off Devonish Mears between the legs.
Well, as soon as the ball hits the goalkeeper, that split second, I'm sure Adelaide fans are thinking, oh no, here we go again. But it's squeezed out from under the Sydney goalkeeper. It's a horrible start for Sydney, but they've been open for business defensively all night. If the home game here was important for them, more so for Sydney given their schedule. Next two games for Adelaide are Perth and Wellington. Not that there's any easy games in the A-League, but of course two teams that are out of finals contention. The pressure relieves somewhat for Adelaide, but they march on. They're still looking, very sharp and intense.
Now conversely for Sydney, only one of their last 4 A-League games is against the bottom half of the table team. That's the Newcastle Jets. That was a foul by Holman on Moore, but play allowed to continue. It's Ben Falami on the left. It's a dangerous-looking cross, well cut out by Joel King in the first instance.
It was a good ball in the end from Ben Falami. I'm just not sure he was as alert to the opportunity as he might have been. I thought he was just a little sluggish. Advantage played, clear foul by Holman on Moore, and again, good space for Adelaide. Archie Goodwin was the target. I thought the ball came in just a little sluggishly.
Credit to the referee as well. Good advantage play by Ben Abraham. Here's Clough. Adelaide have really started this second half well. Alagic manages to thread it through for Ben Falami. And did that get a touch off Devonish Mears?
I thought it was saved.
Yeah, me too, but goal kick is the verdict. I think Ben Falami's saying that he felt Devonish Mears got a save.
No question.
Finger to it.
Yeah, I'm with Ben. Clearly got a touch.
Yeah.
Anyway, 1-1 on the dodgy corner count. Now this is a massive test for Sydney. I know Adelaide have got their own demons and their own targets for the year, and Carl Beard certainly, given all the conjecture, would like to make a point. But Sydney have got so much on the line. The club has invested big in players this year, really bucked the A-League men's trend, it should be said. In doing so, whilst many other clubs have been cutting back, Sydney have recruited heavily, and that is not a pretty picture for them. 8th place as we play.
And their next A-League fixture at home to league leaders Auckland. That's after their trip to Singapore during the week. From Tale, who I'm told became a grandfather for the first time this week. Congratulations to him. Doesn't look old enough. Now, referee is going to have to get involved here. There's a little bit of a square up.
Stephen Morgan wouldn't be involved, would he?
He and Caceres initially. Like two stags.
Well,
Butting antlers.
yeah, it was first Caceres.
attempt at a smile and a handshake. I think Stephen Mort was prepared to break bread. I'm not quite sure Anthony Caceres was. Might have been just a little nudge in the back, which preceded all that. Anyway, Sydney won it back through Costa. Slightly behind Klimala though, unable to readjust in time. One back by Courtney Perkins. Costa. Courtney Perkins again. Costa finds the gap beautifully. Caceres. Klimala in position, trying to place it. Blocked by Lopez and hooked to safety by Johnny Yong.
Good football. That's better from Sydney. The Sydney template is we play like that consistently. It doesn't matter how leaky the defence is, or maybe how under-resourced. But at the moment, they haven't been attacking so pointedly. This evening, there's no question that when their big guns are in sync and firing, they're very difficult to handle, but those moments have been fleeting recently.
Again, Costa finding a space for Courtney Perkins. It pops out here for Klimala, and he buries it. Adelaide couldn't deal with the cross, nor the precision of Douglas Costa's passing, which led to the cross. And Patrick Klimala has a double, and Sydney FC have their lead back.
Well, it's a huge break for Sydney. Early concession to level the scores. And Courtney Perkins on the Harvey Norman replay. It's the reason why they don't play him at centre-half, even though he's a good option, because they like what he brings to the attack. He forces this ball into Klimala. The parry from Vituli falls at the feet of Patrick Klimala, who steadies and fires home to give Sydney the lead. But the temper and the tempo of this little patch for Sydney, as you rightly say, Simon, is set by Douglas Costa, who he's like a Swiss watchmaker, one of those old grey-haired Swiss watchmakers with the glasses on the end of the nose, just finely putting things together, getting the cogs turning. It's just beautiful what he does. So precise by and large.
Well, that's 10 for the season now for Patrick Klimala. 6 goals, or 5 goals I should say, in his last 7. And Adelaide have it all to do again. And again, you've got to, I guess, feel a little bit for the young goalkeeper who was only able to parry the ball into the path of Klimala.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't responsible for what unravelled in front of him, but after the first error, he's been very, very good in the 2 instances particularly. He was called into action, but again, needed to do better there, all part of the learning experience. And the table, having just looked at it with Sydney in 8th place, now has another hue on it.
Well, that's what this part of the season is all about, the jostle for positions in the top 6. Will break quite nicely for Joe Lolly, who fires in the cross towards Klimala at the near post, who's on a hat-trick, of course.
Nice from Joe Lolly. He's looking much better again tonight. Still, I don't think it is league-shattering best. A very dominant player when he's going, but there we go. Sydney back into 6. Adelaide drop out of the 6. MacArthur poised. The Yakovich hat-trick last night sets MacArthur up for a barnstorming finish.
Might change once or twice more before the evening's out. Here's Leo Senna. And goes to ground under the weight of Archie Goodwin's challenge. He thinks it's a bit soft. Thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, it's a foul, but I think we've seen enough of Leo Senna. I think he is aware enough to make the most of whatever's coming his way. It's part of the game. Goodwin with a goal. Sight set on a a golden boot. Wouldn't that be a black eye for the Jets, losing one of the few kids who's come through, go to Adelaide and become a golden boot scorer? He couldn't get a game on the Hunter.
The stadium holding its breath. Douglas Costa get another go. No matter how far out it is, it's never quite beyond him.
Well, off the boot, there was just a moment from Vartuli. Wait, no, away she goes, thank goodness. Aren't we lucky to have him? Fans need to get out and watch and enjoy it in real life.
Here come the Reds. Parias. Courtney Perkins got an important toe in, and now Klimala sets off on a run, and he's rewarded for that run by Courtney Perkins. It's Patrick Klimala on a hat-trick, and a good save by Vartuli to deny him. A bit of redemption for the young keeper.
Well, it goes without saying, Patrick Klimala is very good inside the penalty area, but I think he enjoys this part of attacking goals more. He looks really comfortable, the ball coming across his body or over his shoulder and running in on goal, and he just sets himself beautifully. He's really good in this part of the game, but not good enough on that occasion. The youngster, a close thing, but getting a good fist on the ball. Great ball from Courtney Perkins too, out of defence to release Patrick Klimala.
Well, of course, Max Vartuli was with Sydney FC. He'll know all about Patrick Klimala, having faced him in training. Back heel by Senna. Back heel by Costa. Fired, oh goodness me. Fired with real power by Corey Holman, just wide of that left-hand upright.
Jeez, he met it beautifully. Corey Holman, now he's not a goal scorer by nature, certainly not as a senior player, but he's got to make that beautiful play between the two Brazilians. Oh, it's close. You reckon that's probably, well, I was about to say that's going to be game, set and match, but not in the A-League this year and not with Adelaide. But what a goal it would have been. Costa and Senna on the near touchline.
Sydney have found a second wind here. Absolutely caught cold by that Archie Goodwin equaliser, but showing great character to fight back and retake the lead. Still well over half an hour to go here at Coopers. Beard's team finish off the season with the run that sees them go to Perth next, and a Wellington home game, Brisbane away, and then Melbourne City away to finish. They don't want to have to start that run home outside the top six. Alagic. Kikianis, Lopez. Oh, it's a good ball by Javi Lopez. Archie Goodwin one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and Devonish Mears did enough. Top work again by Harrison Devonish Mears.
Yeah, really good. And Archie Goodwin through again. And this would have put him level in the Golden Boot race. The story within the story here at Coopers. Look at that gap. Dead set, you could drive a B double through that, laden with cattle. Devonish Mears does excellently. But tonight, Archie Goodwin is taking more chances than normal to score his goals.
Still the corner to come. Work short through Yol. Here's Zach Clough. Alagic wanted a touch. Kikianis. Here's Mork. Dispossessed by Lolly, and now the break is on for Sydney. Klimala has open pasture between him and the goal, but Parias is quick. Still Patrick Klimala, and between Parias and his teammate Ethan Alagic, they sort things out just.
That was too much. That's a great recovery, because as you were calling the action, Simon, you recall how high Alagic was. He was on the edge of the D at the centre of the attack. He makes the ground up. Of course, Dylan Perez is hard to get away from. Klimala does as well as I guess one could be expected. But that's Ethan Alagic right there. That's a 90-metre recovery run, as good as.
Well, this one really is on a knife edge. And I don't think we've seen the end of the goal scoring yet. Little tangle between Ryan Grant and Zach Clough, which will result in a Reds free kick.
Well, Adelaide games, because of their nature, are open affairs. With the lead and the key 3 points.
Folami.
The question is, how well can Sydney close the game up as and when they're going to need to protect this lead? Of course, wanting to extend it, because Adelaide are going to open that space as they press forward. And the recoveries are great. Look at Mork there. Johnny Yull as well. They're still swarming the Reds. What a great game we've got Saturday night here at Coopers.
And Javi Lopez, 39 years young, on the move for the Reds. De Jesus got an important foot in to stop that raid from Adelaide. Luggage with time. So Clough knew he was offside and said to Javi Lopez, "Don't play the ball to me."
It's not,
and he did.
He at least made it easy for the match officials, didn't he? He's not going to complain. I don't think it was as offside as Zach might have thought. He probably was offside. It's not that far. Look at this,
the arm
mate.
no,
I'm telling you, he's given. But look, the ball's played. If they score from this, that's going to be another one of the protractor jobs and set squares. Gave himself up too easy there.
Senna. Lolly. Nicely worked by Sydney. Caceres. Lolly. Costa. Looking to use a little trick and a flick to unpick the Reds' defence. Took Sydney FC a while to get Douglas Costa fit and keep him fit. What a contribution he's making now that he has got the body right. Here's Javi Lopez. Alligan shifts it wide right for Parias. Not enough elevation on the cross. And Alligan on the half volley. Good try.
Well, he had a good shooting opportunity, but it was on his right foot and didn't fancy it. A more obscure opportunity bounces to his left and he can cause mayhem. It's been a wonderful season for Alligan. Oh. Not interested when it's on his right. That's for just doing the dishes. But when you want me to create a canvas, away we go.
Scored a couple of goals this season for the Reds as Sydney FC go to their bench. And we're going to see the introduction of Anas Wahim and Adrian Segacic at the expense of the two Brazilians, Leo Senna and Douglas Costa. I dare say with that Champions League semi-final in mind.
That would, I think, be the only conclusion to which one could come. He's been sensational tonight again. Senna got through the game, wasn't as dominating as he's been recently. And now we get a chance to see what sort of nick Wahim is in. He's had really good moments this season, got injured and has been on the outer since, but he gets a good slab of game time now to reassert himself as a Sydney contributor, all the while trying to see off this really valiant Reds team, playing some good football.
Joe Lolly fell heavily after this aerial duel with Javi Lopez. And now it's the Reds' turn to make a double change as we watch that replay. And it's going to be a 250th appearance in the alley for the Reds for Isaias as he replaces Panagiotis Kikianis. And Ben Folami also takes his leave. And we're going to see the excitement machine of Yaya Dukuli down the left. Dukuli, I should say.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Can going to jump in real quick on Panakikianis. He did come to the bench when there was a little break before. He took what looked like a painkiller or two, had a drink of water, shook his head to Carl Viet and suggested perhaps I'm not quite in the state to go. So I reckon there could be a little niggle, some sort of injury there. He's grabbing at his right hip and glute at the moment.
Good stuff. Thanks, Max.
I was just about to talk about Kikianis. Max, we just need to find out if he had the fast-acting Panadol or the regular stuff. Give it much of a chance to kick in.
I think it's a Panadol Rapid Club, but I'll double-check. They could be on the Panamax.
Well, that answers the question, because I thought, geez, that's a big call to take off one of the really good young defenders who's played well here tonight, had a great season. Leaves a gap in your defence, but if he's crook, that explains it.
So he is back in that central defensive role where we've seen him a fair bit in his later years with the Reds. It's quite an experienced backline now for Adelaide, but Klimala is through and couldn't set himself to complete the hat-trick.
What a chance. The moment he was put through by that quite delightful ball from, I think it was Corey Holman, I thought, here's the ghost coming to haunt the substitution of Kikianis, but Assayas, to his credit, recovered really well, the old-timer.
So Bart Green's 33, Isai is 38, Javi Lopez 39. That's three of the back four. Dylan Parias, the spring chicken, at 25. Not to mention the keeper, who's just 20.
There's not many defences in the A-League nowadays that can boast 100 years on this earth plus.
Here's Yaya Dukuli looking to make an impact off the bench, and he forces the save out of Devonish Mears, and he's made 1 or 2 tonight.
And it took a little bit of nick on the way through, so it looked like it was wobbling and swirling. It's a poor giveaway. Stephen Moore pounces. He intercepts a lot of football there.
And it comes for Isaias. Balloons over the crossbar. Hasn't scored a goal for the Reds since April 2019 against Brisbane, but there he is in terms of A-League appearances. First one to hit 250. Congratulations to him.
Yeah,
it's been a great servant to the club and to the league.
Look at this here. Just gets the toe in, crucially, because he was beating Orleans up. The pass through for Kamala. A hat-trick beckoning. Make a decent team out of that all-time appearances list from Adelaide.
I don't know if you saw who was at the bottom.
Bruce, yeah, I was just going to say,
sitting next to me.
Yeah, Bruce could do a bit of work. He's appropriately propping up the table.
This has played double the games almost that I.
He was committed and loyal, Bruce, that's why.
Oh.
Chasing big cash overseas out, Bruce.
Never went without a transfer fee, fellas.
Owns half of Adelaide now, Bruce, doesn't he?
I'm just waiting for him to launch his election campaign.
Just over 20 minutes to go at Coopers. Adelaide pushing, probing, but Sydney still looking very dangerous. Jesus. Ball spins away in favour of Caceres, but Alagic wins it for the Reds. And he's got options right and left. Here's Parias on the right. Courtney Perkins did his job.
Well, that's a sequence which is a tale of 2 heavy touches. Zach de Jesus for Sydney and carrying the ball out, lost control. And Adelaide spring away, and with the chance to create some real danger, Dylan Parias, his touch is way too heavy. Courtney Perkins was all over him. He's had a very good game. He's having a good season, Jordan, Courtney Perkins. But really, really effective tonight.
Well, how much bearing will the last 20 minutes here have on the future of Carl Veert? All to be revealed potentially this week. Here's Zach Clough. And straight into Anas Wahib. And Sydney get the throw in.
Well, it might be pressure on Carl Veert. Simon, I tell you, the person with blood pressure trouble at the moment is Ufuk Teller. He's dead set nearly combust every time Sydney lose control of the ball, and in his estimation, not unreasonably so. There are moments that Sydney players of their ability shouldn't be losing control of the football. I guess that's not necessarily taking into full consideration just how sharp Adelaide's pressure has been.
Well, this game has been everything we thought and hoped it would be. Still a fair bit to run. Marius linking up with Johnny Yol. Still with Yol. Aligic managed to get goal side of Sagitic, but pass favoured Courtney Perkins, who gets the head up and tries to hit Klimala, who's well marshalled by Isaias. Back go the Reds. Driving run by Dylan Farias, he's done well. Bringing Lopez into the play. Dukuli. Feinted to cross once, twice, eventually does clip it over, and Archie Goodwin's there to nod in the equaliser. It was brilliant work by the substitute Yaya Dukuli, and Goodwin applies the finishing touch for his 12th of the season. He's the Golden Boot leader now, and we're back all square.
Well, three very important phases to this attack from Adelaide on the Harvey Norman replay. Firstly, the difficult task of containing Dylan Farias in full stride. Even though he was running parallel to the goal, he was still able to keep possession, attract the attention of defenders, and then Yaya Dukuli on the near touchline, 1v1 versus Zach De Jesus, and Corey Holman as well. Two of them buying the first dummy. Sticks the ball up to the back post. It's a great lead from Archie Goodwin. He's about on par now, conversion v chances. He's missed more than he usually does, but he's helped himself to a brace. And leading in the Golden Boot race, the kid from Newcastle.
There he is, top of the shop. And he doesn't mind a goal against Sydney. That's now 6 in 7 against the Sky Blues. Some of those, of course, for his former club, the Newcastle Jets. And this seesaw contest takes another twist. They always provide good entertainment, these two.
Sydney back to 8th. What a game of football. It's a great league. The A-League men's competition. Fantastic sport.
There we go. Adelaide in 6 for the moment. One game to come tomorrow. That's at McDonald Jones Stadium, Newcastle Jets against Wellington Phoenix. Newcastle Jets not yet mathematically out of it, but would take an almighty turnaround as Lolly is dispossessed, but a little bit belatedly gets the whistle. There were 1 or 2 panic-stricken Sydney FC people on the bench that were quickly out of their seats.
I think it was more because referee Ben Abrams couldn't find his whistle, which is rare for a referee. They sleep with the things normally. But the delay was just fumbling around for the P, he couldn't find it. But there's a clear yank on the arm or pull on the shirt.
What a last quarter of an hour we got in prospect here. Joel King hitting Klimala. Cooley, great strength, really good control. He's in position to pick up that loose ball as well. And a good impact off the bench, Yaya Cooley.
Hurt slightly there, had a very makeable forward pass to Zach Clough, but his indecision or poor decision, there's the yank, there it was, not one hand but two from Harvey Lopez. Meanwhile, Ben Abrams, the referee, was massaging his pockets. Where's that bloody whistle gone?
Back by Ryan Grant for Joel King. Courtney Perkins. No Douglas Costa, of course, now to pull the strings for Sydney FC.
This is the great opportunity for Wahim if he and Sydney can keep the ball and get him involved.
Sarah's savvy enough to be able to earn a throw from a tight spot. Lolly. Caceres. They miss out Wahim. Segacic. Oh, and that ricochet could easily have angled into that corner of the goal.
And again, the ball squirted through to Adrian Segacic. It looked to me like he just needed to get the ball onto his left foot, but he had the chance to control it towards goal and get a shot away with his right foot. Didn't take it. Now it's Adelaide's turn.
Cooley on the move, cutting past De Jesus and blazing wide, but it did take a touch off Ryan Grant, so it's going to be a corner. The Red Army are enjoying this behind that goal.
He's in all sorts of trouble, Zach De Jesus. There it is. He needed it on his left foot instead of keeping the ball going towards the space. Adelaide, from that moment, spring forward, and he's created the second goal, and he's just giving nightmares to Zach De Jesus, the Sydney right fullback at the moment.
Zach Clough to deliver the Reds' fifth corner. Devonish Smith's got a fist to the ball and then volleyed over the bar by De Cooley.
Beautiful wing play. This just lovely trickery and excellent technique on the cross, just perfectly weighted. And he's got the knack for goals ever since he first made steps onto an A-League field. He showed he's got the knack for goals. His running is instinctive. He's got good speed, now fit seemingly, and banging the goals away for Adelaide.
Up in the air by Javi Lopez. This he is, does really well in a tight spot to angle it back to Bartuli. He sets Dylan Parias on his way. Freeds, Alagic, Parias, Holman. That's a good pirouette by Corey Holman. Nice release too for Wahim. Segacic was free on the left and should have been found a lot earlier by Wahim.
Well, that's the lack of game time, right there. Firstly, when he received the ball, he wasn't as sharp with his awareness that there was space behind him. It took him a couple of seconds to orientate himself. He saw the pass, and then the Russians kicked in. He couldn't execute the pass.
Now the race is on between experienced Ryan Grant and the younger Yaya De Cooley. Experience wins the day on this occasion. We've got 10 minutes to go at Coopers on a night that has once again showcased the Isuzu A-League men's competition at its very best. Great gallery in at Coopers, good game of football under the lights. What more do you want on a Saturday night? Only question now, is there going to be a winner? Does there deserve to be a winner? Parias Trying to seal it in favour of the Reds. Straight at King. Segicic's header really go where he wanted it to, but it's worked out okay. And given away by Courtney Perkins, who stays down for a moment. And the Reds are on the attack. It's Yaya Dukuli. And Ryan Grant makes the block, and it'll be another corner.
Well, Sydney are on the rack. Adelaide, in fairness to them, pretty much since kickoff, have been the team trying to set the pace and stretching Sydney. And Sydney have had some, very good moments of play and got their 2 goals. But either side of that, Adelaide are the dominant team.
Yoll's corner, and the goalkeeper couldn't reach it. And in the end, it's into the side netting of Stephen Moore and a deflection of a Sydney defender. So another corner. And the goalkeeper got the angles all wrong there.
Well, it should have been a routine take. It was completely easy, but he misread the flight of the ball. Sydney claiming that it wasn't a last touch from them.
Alagic at the back post, but a bit too much flight on that one from Johnny Yoll.
And still no danger call, but the Sydney players, a mini inquiry as to how Ethan Alagic was so free on the back stick.
Crowd figure of 10,239 inside Coopers this evening. And they've been well entertained. And they would love a winner. The vast majority inside this venue. 2 months without victory for Adelaide United. Slices it in field. The ball had already gone dead for a throw. Well, they always give great backing to their team. Very knowledgeable crowd as well, the Adelaide United faithful. Ollie sent it forwards. Kamala to give chase. Visay is with front position. And Bartuli to sweep it forward for the Reds. Fair to say he's had a bit of a mixed debut, the youngster, but he'll be better for the experience. Had some really good moments, particularly that save from Douglas Costa in the first half. And he was going the wrong way. Meantime, Lolly back for Ryan Grant.
I just wonder, I thought Taylor's got 1 substitute card to play, 2 attacking options that for 1 place. Is it Tiago Quintal or Jaden Kucharski? 1, the star, certainly of the future. Tiago Quintal, a dazzling dribbling winger. Kucharski not that much older than him, but with proven late game winning experience for Sydney. Which way does Talo go? If he goes anywhere. 1 sub to play for Sydney. 5 minutes plus stoppages to get the 3 points they so desperately need. Adelaide have been great tonight. They've got themselves in a position when they too can believe that a win is their right.
Well, normally for Sydney, off the bench late on, it's Kucharski for Klimala and Quintal for Lolly. As you rightly point out, they can only make 1, Sydney. Adelaide are about to make 2. We're going to see the introduction of Jay Barnett and Luka Jovanovic for the last 5 minutes, and whatever stoppage time there may be. Dylan Perias is one of those to make way, and Archie Goodwin will get a very generous hand from the Adelaide fans after his brace this evening, as he's replaced by Luka Jovanovic. Dylan Perias might well have been on the scoreboard as well tonight. Had that brilliant chance in the first half, which was expertly saved by Harrison Devonish-Mears. Now it's Jay Barnett at right back. He's played in the fullback positions before for the Reds, but was playing at left back in the Australia Cup pre-season. Tonight will operate on the right. Courtney Perkins down the line for Segicic. Can Sydney make a late push for all 3 points? Ryan Grant being closed down very quickly by Jovanovic, who's very fresh off the bench, of course. Tend to play a bit of keep ball, try and move Adelaide around a little bit, open up the spaces further up the park. Wahib took a touch off to Cooley, forward by Mork, but too strong. Adelaide fans trying to roar their team to the finish line, see if they can get that elusive first win. There's Sydney FC's run home domestically. Of course, they've got Asian commitments as well. Auckland at home, Newcastle at home, and then 2 trips to Victoria to face Western United and Melbourne City.
Put that in context. In the 3 games remaining, they've got to play Team 1, Team 2 and Team 3 in the league, as well as home and away Asian semi-finals. So last week and this week are the key fortnight for Sydney. And so far, still with time going here, but they're a loss and a draw as things stand.
Here's Lolly. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt for the earlier foul, which Ufuk-Talay was screaming for. Ben Abraham trying to play the advantage. And the stadium falls silent for a moment. Tale of 2 coaches, both under pressure, both desperate for a winner here late on. Anas Wahib with the free kick for Sydney, came off the head of Stephen Mork. Ryan Grant to recycle it, back through King, reel up and under. Lopez stretching to clear the ball, maybe just tweaked a hamstring. Just immediately grabbed the back of his left leg.
And there's the table again, Simon. 4 games to go for Sydney after this, currently in 8th spot. They've got to play Auckland in 1st, Western in 2nd, Melbourne City in 3rd. It literally doesn't get much harder than that, with Asian Champions League 2 semi-finals buttressed in between over the next fortnight.
Yeah, it's tough. Archie Goodwin leading our Paramount Plus player index, well clear of Patrick Klimala, who of course has also scored twice in 2nd. What a signing he's proved to be for Carl Beer. So the 90 minutes almost up. Ball goes forward for Adrian Segicic. Big chance here for Sydney to win it. Segicic! How on earth has he missed that? He has been Mr. Reliable in front of goal for Sydney FC, especially off the bench. But somehow he's put that one wide after he'd done all the hard work.
Well, this was looking like really nervous. Until this point, the Sydney fans are thinking, we're going to win it. Max Bartoli was in retreat overdrive. He got caught for the first goal outside his penalty area. He was going so far back then and quickly. He just had to navigate the defender, which he successfully did, Adrian Segicic. And with all the hard work done, he shoots wide. And the Sydney fans are thinking, we're going to win it on the boot of Segicic. And then they're back sitting in 8th spot.
Javi Lopez picked up a yellow card in the build-up to that Segicic opportunity. Here's Luka Jovanovic. Really good chasing back from Zach de Jesus, who is then somewhat manhandled by Jovanovic and is left riding on the turf. That's why Javi Lopez picked up the yellow card. And here's what followed between de Jesus and Jovanovic.
Yeah, I think he's a bit of a head trauma there. Good slide tackle, awkward coming together thereafter.
Yeah, he smashed his head into the turf and then rolled him over like a shark would do in the water.
Yeah. Well, there'll be an assessment here. And if the doc says no, you can make one concussion change and then one regular sub. So Sydney could get those two, not wishing ill on Zach de Jesus at all. Of course, we hope the assessment accurately clears him and he can resume his place.
Well, just for the moment, Sydney FC are down to 10. Could Adelaide take advantage of that? Lopez, De Cooley. Somehow, I thought he won a corner there, De Cooley, but no, the verdict is goal kick. Zach de Jesus about to be ushered back on the field.
So he's healthy by the looks of things, and that's the best and first bit of news. Although the assessment looks still to be going on.
Yeah, referee Ben Abraham was okay for him to come back on. I think de Jesus wanted to, obviously, but the medical team has said no for the moment. And Swahim in possession for Sydney. Lolly threading it nicely for Wahim, who angles it back here. It's Segicic, second chance. It's gone in for Sydney. Adrian Segicic once again, the super sub, atoning for the big chance that he missed a couple of minutes ago. And are Sydney going to end up taking all 3 points here? Incredible drama at the end at Coopers.
Well, excitement and at least relief for the Sydney fans who've come to Adelaide in really good numbers. Beautifully crafted goal on the Harvey Norman replay. The ball to Wahim was excellent. The cutback from Wahim was even better. Segicic does two with a half turn. Vartuli does well, not once, but almost twice. And agonisingly for Adelaide, the ball off the second attempt just bounces in off the keeper, who pounds the ground. And the Sydney fans jump for joy. What a game here in Coopers.
And he can make that 10 for the season for Adrian Segicic as well. He could yet have a say in the Golden Boot, but that's of minor consideration at the moment. What a game. Is that the final twist? There's still a little bit of time left, not much. Adelaide must throw the kitchen sink at Sydney FC or they're going to be outside the six tonight.
Well, both these teams are towards the top of the league for injury time goals and heart attack finishes. Sydney have salvaged points late, Adelaide have salvaged and conceded points late. Cooper has been the scene for Adelaide on more than one occasion this season. It's delivered again tonight. The Reds have been terrific without the yield. Sydney have hung on and scored a third.
Well, Carl Beetz is now powerless, and he looks up at the clock and knows that there's not much time left. It's going to be 7 games without a win for the Reds. And it's time up for their coach. That table changes once again as Sydney move into the top 6. A yellow card issued for time wasting. Patrick Klimala was also booked, by the way, a couple of minutes ago for that foul on Isaias. De Jesus with the long launch. Sydney just need to keep hold of the ball and the points are theirs. Klimala does well. Lolly manages to keep the ball in play. Linesman was right up with it. And Lolly earns a corner. That could be that.
Well, the quality of Joe Lolly, which hasn't been in great evidence in recent weeks. We've seen bits and pieces, but for the third goal, he set it up and now he's seen the clock out.
And that is full time at Coopers. Are we witnessing full time on Carl Beard's coaching career with the Reds? 2 goals from Archie Goodwin, but not enough. As Adrian Segacic, again off the bench, as he's done so often this season, proved to be the match winner. 2 goals as well for Patrick Klimala. The Reds can scarcely believe it, but it's a huge win for Sydney FC as they move back into the top 6 at Adelaide's expense. The Reds now 7 without a win and fading fast. And that speculation over the future of their coach will only increase on the back of this result. Sydney head to Singapore in good spirits after reviving their league fortunes here tonight. What a game. These two delivered once again. 5 goals shared. And in the end, Sydney FC come out on top. Full time at Coopers. Adelaide United 2, Sydney FC 3.
Well, a chaotic finish to this evening's proceedings, as we are used to seeing around these parts, Bruce Jitte. Who do you say is a deserved winner? Sydney taking the points 3-2, keeping their season alive, jumping over Adelaide United. The fans in raptures over there in the corner. They've travelled in great numbers and they are up and about. It's what we've come to expect almost from the Reds this year, Bruce.
A late goal from Sydney FC here at Coopers Stadium. We're not surprised. I mean, we saw it earlier in the season. We see it again. And it's moments, you know, Segacic had a great moment a couple of minutes before then, scuffed it, you know, screwed his shot wide of the upright, gets another bite of the cherry. Great first touch to set it up. You know, Vituli does well to save the first one, but he wasn't going to miss again. But look at what that does to the table.
Yeah, so Sydney jumps over Adelaide. They're in the 6th. The Reds, Simon had the exact stat. I think they've been in the top 6 since pretty much the start of the season, and this is the first time they've jumped out. It is all really starting to fall apart for Adelaide. That's now winless in their last 7, 1 win in their last 10 off the top of my head. Is it too much of a road back here? Can they salvage anything from here, Bruce?
Yeah, certainly. Sydney's got a really tough run home, you know, but they're looking below them at MacArthur as well, who have built a bit of momentum. They won 5-1 last night. It's going to be a fascinating end to the season. You know, there's only 3 or 4 games left, depending on how many games respective teams have played, but it's going to be a very, very tight finish.
And for Sydney, a team that they weren't even the favourites coming over here against a ice-cold Adelaide side, but that's the sort of win that can give you confidence, Bruce, going into what they hope now is a final series.
Absolutely, and they've got a really busy next couple of weeks coming up, especially with Asian Champions League as well thrown in the mix there. I think they fly out tomorrow or the day after. So, you know, they're going to have a lot of confidence. They've got big game players. You know, they're a big club. They're going to be expecting to make the finals and go well in the finals, but they've got a tough last 3 games to go, so anything can happen, and I dare say that ladder will change dramatically between now and the end of the season.
All right, those fans will be partying well into the evening. Let's get to the Tobin points here. Archie Goodwin was fantastic. He broke the line a number of times for the Reds, scored 2 goals. Patrick Klimala scored 2 as well for Sydney. Really could have been interchangeable between the two. And Harrison Devonish-Mears, well, I mean, he kept Sydney in it, really. Early on, it could have been a vastly different halftime score. We have our man of the match, not in the circumstances that he would like to be here with us, Archie Goodwin. Thank you for coming over, Arch. the way that finished, that it's just sort of been how Adelaide's season has gone this year. How do you feel?
Yeah, look, disappointed. You said there's just little details that have led to our goals, and yeah, look, it's frustrating. But yeah, we just got to move on to next week now.
Personally for you, top goal scorer, how's the season been for you so far? And tonight, you know, you had a few good chances in the first half, couldn't quite get the ball out of your feet, or sometimes that extra little second and the defender nicked it away with their toe. You persevered, got a couple of goals tonight. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's good. It's always good to score goals, but at the end of the day, I want to be winning games. It's been a good season for me individually, but yeah, as a team, we want to win games, and that's what we strive for. So yeah, it's disappointing.
Can we go one more on you? I know we're not happy with the result. You're not happy with the result, Archie, but to see this sort of vision and to see yourself breaking through that line, did your eyes light up a few times this evening? We talked about it on the sidelines, the way that Sydney defends with such a high line, and you are so quick. It just felt like there were chances and chances and chances out there for you.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the time I was standing offside because I knew in the wide areas we've got some pace. We've got Dylan getting up there. So if I stayed offside, they didn't know where I was and the balls would come in. So yeah, got a few chances. Probably should have put a few more away, but yeah, happy with the two.
And a lot of talk throughout the week about the coach and his future. Certainly a coach who's backed you fully this season and was a big part of the reason you came to the club. Was that in the back of the players' minds? What's the vibe in the squad, considering the winless streak, as well as all that brouhaha and noise around Carl's future?
Look, I think that'll all take care of itself. As players, we just focus on winning games, and that's all we can do. It's not the back of our heads. We're just going each week and putting our best performances in, and yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get the result tonight.
Arch, we'll let you go, but can you change this? Is there still time to turn it around for the Reds?
Yeah, definitely. We've still got the confidence, as you can see. We're still scoring goals. It's just little mistakes that we need to fix up, and I think you'll see in the next few weeks we'll fix that. So
beautiful. We appreciate your time, mate. Thank you so much for joining us. You are our player of the match today.
Cheers, appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll head to a break here at Cooper Stadium. We'll wrap it all up in a second. That ladder, as we talked about, Sydney FC now in the 6. Who could have seen this coming for Adelaide United just a couple of months ago? They're outside of the 6, and that goal difference might come back to bite them as well, given what's going on around them. Oh, Bruce. Oh, Bruce.
Yeah. One of those games, and the ladder speaks for itself.
It does. It does. All right, let's go to that break now. ACL semi-final 2 action coming up for these Sydney boys. How are they going to recover for that? The first leg in Singapore. Lion City Sailors against Sydney FC. You can catch all of that action Wednesday live and exclusive on 10 Play.
Here's Costa towards the back post. It should be a goal for Sydney. It is. Alex Grant. That's beautiful footwork from Costa. He had the ball on a string there, Douglas Costa. Courtney Perkins. And it might break here for Klamala. Scores! The stutter run up, and Douglas Costa surely sends Sydney FC through.